Transition Senior Living Seminar Series. Today we're going to be talking about giving yourself the advantage as it relates to your body. We've got some really important things to discuss, but before we jump into that, I just want to remind you that Great Transitions has been around for quite a while, working with seniors and families as their lifestyle and housing needs change. It can be a few months preparing for a transition, maybe a downsized move. It can be 10 years, or maybe a life event or a health event can change your plan. And so that's why we come together here every month, is to talk about all the things related to that plan, right? We want you to create a plan, and we really want you to have a plan A and a plan B as it relates to right sizing. Because some people don't have a plan, and that is a plan. It's just not a very good plan to have, right? And not only do we want you to create that plan, but we want you to be able to communicate that plan with the people in your life that are going to help bring that plan to fruition. We want you to be able to be assured that they're going to make the decisions that you want made for you when you're no longer able to do so yourself. And as a reminder, we're not here to sell you anything. We're just here to provide information, to build community, have a place that inspires hope and encourages progress. So with that said, we're going to jump into our topic and our discussion with our amazing panelists today. We've talked before in this seminar series about the fact that age is just a number, right? There are some people that are thriving, marathon running at 85, and there are some people that are maybe thriving a little differently at a much younger age, 65, right? And so our lives can look very different. What we do know is that we are in control of our bodies, and we always need to be evaluating, self-evaluating, really, are there steps that we need to be taking that we're not taking? So much so that I was giving this a lot of thought earlier today, and I made sure I went to the gym before I came today because I knew it was good. I was being held accountable at some level in my own brain. So I got my workout in. Nutrition and exercise improve our health and help with longevity, right, and the quality of our life. Small intentional changes can lead to significant improvements in our quality of life as we age. And so that's basically what we're going to talk about today. So before we jump into our questions, I'm going to ask each of you to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourself to our audience.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Wow, I am so impressed. Look at all of you here. This is great. Okay, my name is Treva McGowan, and I'm from Village on the Green. I am a full-time fitness supervisor there, so I do all the classes and all the personal training and all that, and that's why she felt she needed to work out this morning. My background is actually in nursing and social work, so kind of makes me a busybody and I want to fix everything. That's my background. I still kind of dabble with that, but my heart is really fitness. It always has been. So when someone comes to me, I'm gonna fight for everything I can get out of you. I'm from a small town in Indiana, Fort Wayne, Indiana. And today I think it's maybe 29 degrees, and I'm so glad I'm here. And I have actually been in Florida now for 45 years, and I love it so much. So that's a little bit about me. I do Zumba Gold, yeah. Okay, yeah. And my favorite song with that one right now is Dance With Me, because Beto, You get to dance with Beto. Right.
We're gonna have to check that one out on Spotify.
Yeah, you
I
are.
think.
Yeah, you are.
Joanne?
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Joanne Delgado and I'm a registered dietitian with Nutritious Lifestyles. I am a consultant dietitian with the Mayflower here in Winter Park. I also work at a variety of other buildings. And I am from Trinidad and Tobago. That's where I was born. I lived there till I was 16 and then we came to America. So if I had to pick a song, it would be Calypso, and that's because we wine our waist, and that's what I like.
Don't you just love her accent? All right, well, let's jump in. Treva, I want to start with you. Let's talk about senior fitness and maybe debunking some of the myths around senior fitness.
Do you have an hour?
Not quite. so-
Right. There are so many myths out there, and I promise you I can debunk every single one of them. Let's start with, I am too old. No, you're not. We used to think, oh, you know, after 85, you don't need to exercise anymore. You're too old. But we've done some research. We have found that even into your 90s, you can do weights, you can do cardio, you can do all of that and still build muscle. Maybe not as much as when you were 20, but you can still build muscle to keep yourself strong. So that's no excuse if you come to me and say, I'm too old. No, you're not. Well, I walk. I walk every day. That's enough. No, it's not. It's a good start. And yes, if you can walk do it. Absolutely. But here's the thing, walking is only doing one aspect of fitness. We are looking at cardio, heart, lungs. We are looking at muscle mass, strength, endurance, independence. Oh, that's a big one, right? That I word. Balance, agility, fall prevention right there, wrapped up in one. Okay? Another one that is, you know, this isn't going to help my condition. I have diabetes. I've had diabetes forever. This isn't going to help. Yes, it is. We're going to get those blood sugars down by doing what? Cardio and building strength, which helps to take some of the weight off that maybe you've been fighting for a while. Yeah, weightlifting. The more muscle I have, the more calories I burn, period. Okay? It's dangerous. I'm going to get hurt. Yeah, if you're not paying attention to what you're doing, okay? Or if you've got a crazy personal trainer. I am not a crazy personal trainer. I just want you to know that. That's the guy that says, come on, you can do 20 burpees, let's go. You're not doing burpees on the floor. I'll show you how to do a burpee with a chair, but not on the floor. Okay, some of you are going, what the heck is a burpee? I do that after lunch, you know. All right. But it's actually an exercise that we do, and it's a very good one. So it's all in checking out who's teaching that class, who's doing that personal training. Do they understand this population? And I'm part of that population almost. I got one more year. Okay, then I'm part of the population. Let's see, high intensity interval training. That's a big one right now. You've probably seen that. Oh, no, I can't do that. I teach that at least once a week with my folks.
Do you have a full class?
Yes. Because sometimes they go, uh-oh, I didn't know it was high intensity today.
So
Too
triggery
late.
words.
Too late, the door is shut and locked, you're in. But here's the thing with that. If you have an instructor who, again, understands this population, you can do it. Don't do this stuff on TikTok. Please don't do that. You will get injured. Okay, so again, it goes back to understanding who's teaching this. Do they understand it? Okay? Let me look at my page because there's probably more. You know what? I used to be fit. Oh, I ran marathons. I did this, I did that. No, I don't have to do it anymore. I got that muscle memory going on. There is muscle memory, but if you don't use that muscle, guess what happens? It don't work no more. It doesn't stay strong. So you still need to exercise. I don't care what you've done in the past. Let's build on that. If you were a marathon runner, can I maybe get you on the treadmill now and walk you a little faster? Because maybe it's safer there instead of trying to go out there and run over pine cones and you know, all that other stuff that's in the way, okay? I have arthritis, and it hurts to move. You're right, it does hurt to move. But you know what? The more you move, the less you're gonna hurt. Yeah. So if you have arthritis, you really need to be exercising. Here's when you shouldn't. If the joint is swollen and red, then no, you got your excuse, go home, I'll see you tomorrow, right? But if you're just having that pain, come and move with us, come and move. Because you are gonna find that the more you move, the less pain you're gonna have.
I love that. I love
Okay.
that. You
And
ref-
again, I can keep going.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I want to hone in on something you said. Can exercise prevent falls?
Yes and no. Okay? That's a crazy answer, isn't it? But here's the thing. If I have stronger muscles, I have endurance, that kind of thing. For instance, the balance class I teach, you're standing for 30 minutes. That's your endurance. I may have you get in and out of your chair 15 times. That's building strength in the legs. Then I'm going to have you do different movements. That could be an agility move. We're not just going to stand on one foot and call that balance, because there's so much more to balance. If I don't have that agility to move quickly, to do this, to do that, I'm going to fall. Biggest thing, and my people love this, I said, okay, think of something that you really love. That big mug of beer. Mine is chocolate cake with fudge icing. Okay, so I'm carrying a chocolate cake with fudge icing, and I trip. What's your first thing to do? Oh no!
Don't
Worst
spill it.
thing, right, worst thing you can do, because you're going to go down, you're going to get hit. Here's what we do. Throw it down. And I won't say it as loud as we do, because I got a microphone on. But here's the deal. We're walking along, and I say, uh-oh, you just tripped. What do? And they go, throw it down, really loud. And the best day of my life was one lady came to me, and she said, you caused me not to have a fall. I heard you in my brain go, throw it down. She said, I had all these books, brand new books, and I threw them down, walked it out, came back, picked my books up, and went on. And I'm like, yes, that's what this is all about.
That's awesome.
Yep,
That's awesome.
love it.
Write that down on your paper. Throw it down.
Drop it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, thanks for unfolding some of that fitness stuff. I want to switch over to the nutrition side now. Joanne, how can we be sure that what we're putting in our mouths is good for us?
That's
We
a
see
great question.
so many products.
Yes, there is a lot of stuff out there, a lot of stuff in the grocery store, and it's actually very basic. It's going back to real food, natural food, whole foods, and avoiding a lot of the processed foods, shopping the perimeter of the grocery store, focusing on items that don't have a lot of additives added to the products, balancing our diets, making sure we're balancing protein with carbohydrates, adding fruits and vegetables, and basically just sticking with real food is what I would.
When we had our pre-meeting for this, we talked a little bit about the food pyramid that most of us grew up with, and that's been shifted a little bit.
Yes, it shifted to my plate, which is where they recommended a quarter of your plate being protein, a quarter of your plate being carbohydrate, and a half of the plate being fruits and vegetables. They have now another pyramid where they have the healthy fats, proteins, fruits and vegetables on the top of the pyramid, and at the very bottom they have the carbs. So they were focusing more on protein, healthy fats, fruits and vegetables.
When I grew up, macaroni and cheese was a vegetable.
Well, French fries I think is the most common vegetable these days, but yeah.
So we're not talking about those, though.
Not as much.
Yeah. So, how do as we age,
Yes.
how do our nutritional needs change?
Okay, so as we age, we need to be mindful that we need increased protein to help with the muscle building and the lean body mass. We also don't always absorb nutrients as well, so we have to be mindful, maybe a multivitamin Also, check your B12 levels, because if those are deficient, you want to have a B12 shot. The intrinsic factor doesn't work as well as we age, so that's something we want to be mindful of and check. Also, we want to make sure we have enough calcium and vitamin D, and vitamin D is important for calcium absorption. So that's something we need to be mindful of. Also, our fluid needs, our ability to sense thirst decreases as we age, and we also don't retain fluid as well. So we need to be mindful that we're drinking enough, have a water bottle to keep reminding you to drink throughout the day, and that also helps hydrate muscle mass, so that's also important.
A lot of people are like, well, I drank coffee this morning. Shouldn't that count as not water?
Okay, so coffee is a liquid. It is a diuretic though. So water is a better fluid because it's not as dehydrating, because caffeinated beverages can be a little bit dehydrating.
So water,
Yeah.
water, water.
You can infuse it
Water,
with fun things like orange slices or lemon, different things like that, and have a fun water bottle to help encourage the fluid intake.
Or a pretty glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes it a little nicer. Okay, Treva, let's say somebody is sitting in the audience and they are thinking, you know what, I probably need to start moving a little bit more. What would you recommend to them if they're trying to get more active?
My first thing, and I know you're all gonna go, ugh, but talk to your doctor. Check and see, do you have anything that we need to think about as you begin your journey into fitness, okay? And guess what? Your doctor is gonna be thrilled that you've even asked, how should I approach fitness? What should I do? Okay, they're gonna try to give you some ideas, but you know, we just wanna know what might be your limitations at that point. The second thing would be to definitely get a fitness assessment by a personal trainer who works with this age group. Okay, what I would do for someone who's 30 is different than someone who's 65. And I know none of you are at that age yet, so you know you want to look ahead. Okay. So just taking those things into consideration so that you get an idea of what's my baseline, where am I right now, and what is it that I need to do? How does that now work into the goals that I have made for myself for fitness? Maybe your goal is just, I want to be able to walk a mile without going, you know? And when I check your cardiovascular, I'm like, you know what, you're right, you do need to increase that. But you know, I saw some, maybe some deficits in lower body strength, so we need to work on that too. So we would work together on those goals. The next thing would be then, you know what, these are simple exercises. When you're watching TV and a commercial comes on, get up, go walk to the kitchen, do not get a snack, walk back and sit back down, okay? The other thing is, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but it's a legitimate exercise. It's called fidget size. Okay, think about that word for a minute. Fidget size. Fidget. How many people do you know cannot sit still in their chair? They're just
Kids
constantly
get in trouble
moving.
at school for that.
They do. I've gotten in trouble a lot for that. I was told I wasn't paying attention. I was bored out of my mind. Just gotta move. So move. Move, you know, move your fingers, okay? Very simple. And I'm just like, get up, sit down, get up, sit down, get up, sit down. That becomes a strength and cardio move right there. And when you can't get out of your chair anymore by yourself, where's that independence? Okay? So these are things you can think about. It's very simple.
Okay. And I like that it's easy.
Easy.
Commercial comes on, I'm standing up and sitting down 10 times,
Yep.
15 times.
Yep.
Yeah.
30. No.
Well, the commercials are pretty
Depends on how long the commercials are.
Yeah.
So let's take that same vein, Joanne. If somebody says, you know what, I need to get better nutritionally, what are some ways I can get started on that?
Small changes to start with, so it doesn't seem overwhelming right away. Just whatever you feel is the area you need to work on. It may be lessening your sodium intake, it can be increasing your fruits and vegetables, minimizing processed foods. Just small changes, and focus on progress and not perfection. So even if you have a bad day, it's okay. The next day is another day. You can go ahead and keep going. Don't let it discourage you. Yeah, I think that's important.
We see, and when we talk about whole foods and the natural things, but yet we need to increase our fiber or we need to increase our protein, there's a tendency to look for some protein bars or maybe a drink or supplement. How do we find the right one there?
Oh, that's a good question, and it depends on your needs because everybody has different needs. So I would recommend reading the labels because it just depends on what you're looking for. If you need higher protein, then they have products out there with less sugar, higher protein. They have bars, they have powders that you can use, they have dairy products, they have plant-based products now, like they have everything out there.
Okay, good. Treva, you mentioned earlier that we can still build muscle as we age, which brings me great hope.
Me too.
Well, you guys know I had foot surgery back in December and I was non-weight bearing for 2 months.
Wow.
And it went fast. And so I graduated from physical therapy. I'm back on the dance floor, but the other night I went dancing and I'm like, woof, I'm tired. So how can we overcome these challenges as we get a little older? Feels harder to build up those muscles.
It does, and kind of stepping on your toes too a little bit. It's that protein intake and the water intake. So important because as we do age, we have that horrible word that starts with an S, sarcopenia, which means the muscle is wasting away a little bit. We don't build it as fast. It's just part of that aging process. So making sure you're doing that protein and water intake, you've got to. Water intake is also important for joint movement, right? As I get dehydrated, oh man, I'm not moving as well. So that now starts to interfere with my flexibility, right? So it's looking at choosing the right exercise or the right approach. And again, looking at someone who is a professional who understands this age group for fitness can lead you into, here's what you need. And this is real important. We have found that to really affect the muscle and bone, it doesn't just take a hand weight. It takes resistance with that. So you can combine the stretchy bands with your weights, and now you're not just affecting I always do a bicep curl. Why do we do that? What is that? Okay. Any muscle. But let's just say, when I do this, great, I can get that muscle and then it lets go. When I add that resistor band, it's now pulling on that bone here and pulling on that bone here. And that muscle is getting what we say concentric and eccentric. So do you see what I mean by concentric? I'm picking something up. Eccentric, I'm putting something down. I need that muscle strong enough to do both. So that's one of the biggest approaches that you can do without really even thinking about it. Get yourself a band, get yourself some weights, and you can really affect it a lot better combining that movement. There are some machines in the gym that do that already. They're kind of far and few between, so you got to look at the gym you're going to. Did I hit that?
I think so, and I think really not being afraid to answer question or ask the question
Right.
what's your protocol for mature adults, right? If you're looking for a gym, because I don't want to go to the gym where the 20-somethings are.
Right. And that's tough, because most of them, that's where all of the personal trainers want to be. You know, we want to be on the sports teams, and we want to do this, and we want to do that. I have more fun with you guys. Okay? This is a whole lot more fun. Because someone who's 20 years old is going to sit there and say, oh, I know how to do this. I don't need their help. Oh. Whereas you guys are a little more open to, yeah, I'm not sure. Can you help me with this? Okay? Here's the thing. If that personal trainer is worth their weight in gold, when you ask, have you ever worked with someone with sarcopenia? And they look at you like, who? Run away. You know, because they're not going to understand what it's going to take to help you. Okay? If they say, you know, I'm not familiar with that, but I'm willing to learn. Yeah, buddy, sign me up.
Right.
Okay? So I think that is, you brought up a great thing right there, is ask questions. Please do not be afraid to do that. It's your body.
And don't be afraid if that's not the gym for you.
Correct. Because you know how many gyms are out there?
A lot.
All right, how many? Yeah.
They'll all take your money.
And they'll all take your money, right? One of the things that if you have silver sneakers, look and make sure that gym has silver sneakers. Okay? Because you probably have a better chance of finding someone in there who's going to understand us.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Gotcha. Now, this is not my issue, Joanne, but for some people, when it comes time to eat, they're just not hungry. Right? Can that be part of the normal aging process? And what do you do about it?
That is a great question, and that can happen for a variety of reasons. It can be because of medications, can be because of health issues, social issues. There are many different factors that can be involved in that. And so there's a lot of different things we can do to help increase, you know, your intake if you're having a poor appetite. And one of those would be to try to schedule small, frequent meals so you're not eating a lot at one time so it doesn't seem so overwhelming. Also to schedule your meals, like have a plan for the day so that way you have something to focus on to help you get through the day. And creating a pleasant environment, having meals with someone, a friend, or a social environment to help you increase your intake, and visually appealing foods, colorful foods, things that are fun to look at, all of those can help. And drinking fluids to help, that also helps keep your appetite going. And plate color. So in some of our units we use actually red plates because that helps also stimulate appetite to help eat more. So colors also can help with that.
Maybe I have red plates. Maybe I need to put them away.
Yeah, me too.
You need a white plate.
I need a white plate, yeah.
I think I do. I like what you said about smaller meals. How many of you, when you go to a restaurant, it's like, oh my gosh, it's too
a
much,
lot.
right? My mother went to a restaurant recently, and she's like, I ate at the restaurant, brought it home, and I had 2 more meals after that.
Yes, because the portions are so big nowadays. Yes, and you can definitely take it home, and that way you have further meals for later, so that's
Right.
even better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, smaller meals is a good idea. Treva, let's talk about some safe ways to increase physical activity.
So one of the biggest things that I see is people think, well, I shouldn't be using a walker or a cane or anything like that if I'm going to exercise. If you need an assistive device, use it. And you can still exercise. There's not a problem with that. So that's my biggest thing that I see. It's like, I can't do that. And we talked about the walking poles.
Mm-hmm.
The nice thing about that is it gives you that stability.
Do you know what walking poles are?
I should have brought them in. I'm so sorry I didn't.
That's okay.
I'm sorry I didn't. I have a resident right now that I'm working with who they're saying you should probably use a walker. And he's like, I am not doing that. And he goes, and I'm going to be honest, I'm too proud to do that.
Mm.
And I'm like, wow, that's some good honesty right there, because I'm kind of on your boat too. I'm like, I get what you're saying. So I introduced him to the walking poles. And one of the things that once we got him on them, I'm like, slow down, please slow down. He's been working on it. He's doing fabulous. We've seen his posture get better. We've seen his walking get better. This person has Parkinson's. And one of the things that happens is that arm and leg thing starts to go away. Those poles force you to do that. You have to get that pole out there with that opposite leg to move. So that was kind of an easy thing, even though we're working with please slow down. Okay.
Right.
The other thing is that the strength in the legs. It's not only strength, but it's power also. So remember I talked about getting in and out of your chair? That is a powerful thing. You are not just lifting your weight, you are lifting 3 times your weight when you get out of your chair.
Oh, wow.
I like that face. Think about it. I'm fighting gravity every time I get out of my chair. Okay? So that is such an easy and simple exercise to do so that it can increase your physical activity. The stronger my legs get, the more power I get in my legs, the more Zumba classes I can come to, different things like that. Okay, so that is always my go-to. Get in and out of your chair. Just start doing that, and you will be amazed how your heart rate goes up because those quadriceps, top of your legs, largest muscle in your body. I start working that, my heart rate goes up. Yay. The more I lift that 3 times my weight, who's doing the math? Right? How strong are my legs going to start getting?
Right.
Okay.
Love that. I was, when I went for my physical therapy, my last physical therapy appointment, it was over at Crosby. And I don't know if you all have been in there. On the 2nd floor, there's a track. And there was a gentleman that was walking that I think had probably had a stroke because he was really kind of just shuffling. But there's a rail all the way around that track. It's smooth, not like a sidewalk. He was, and I was in the physical therapy room for a good 45 minutes, and he had been walking that entire time. And it was hard for him, but he was doing it now that I think about it, he was doing it in a very safe environment.
Absolutely. With an assistive device. That
Right.
railing, right?
He had a cane in one hand and the rail in the other,
Love
and
it.
he just was going around at his little pace, and it worked. Yeah.
The other thing about getting in and out of your chair is if you can do that 5 times in 10 seconds, we know that your fall risk is pretty low. Isn't that interesting?
How many of you are going to go home and
Then
see
try
that? You can do it in 10 seconds. Set your timers.
All right, I'll leave my phone number. You can call me, let me know.
We might have to ask you that when you come back or have a little gold star.
Right, little gold stars. I did it.
Yep. Joanne, let's switch back to what we're putting in our bodies. If we have a specific condition like high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, what are some diet things that we can do to help?
Okay. A lot of it ties in all together for all of the diseases, but then I will specify for each one some of the benefits of following certain things. So for hypertension, they recommend the DASH diet, which basically is making sure you're getting enough fruits and vegetables, enough potassium, magnesium, fiber in the diet, also enough of your proteins, and limiting your salt. One of the things is only 10% of the population is salt sensitive. So having
what
those
does that mean, salt sensitive?
meaning that if they lower their salt intake, it will make a huge difference
Only
in
10%?
the hypertension. Yes,
Wow.
yes. But some people may not necessarily respond to that, so we want to make sure we're doing other things in the diet, like the fruits, vegetables, fiber, proteins, that type of thing. And making sure we're doing healthy fats, avocados, nuts, olive oils, those type of things. And even with exercise, losing even 10 pounds can help with hypertension, makes a big difference.
Yep.
So even just a little bit of weight, if you're, above where you need to be, is really helpful too. As far as heart disease, pretty much all the same things: fiber, fruits, vegetables, complex carbohydrates, and again, the healthy fats. With diabetes, we just want to be mindful about the carbohydrate intake, because that's going to impact your blood sugars. Want to make sure you're balancing it with enough protein, because with protein, that'll help stabilize your blood sugars. And also making sure that we're eating consistently, not skipping meals most of the day and then eating only at night, because then our blood sugars are going to be much more unstable than they would be if you're more consistent with your meals. And of course, exercise, like you mentioned, helps with that, and high fiber, balanced diets, that's all helpful.
Our next seminar, we're going to be focused on the health of the brain
Oh, okay.
as it is impacted, or as it impacts longevity. If maybe I've got an early diagnosis, or maybe I have a family history of cognitive issues, are there nutrition things we need to be watching for there?
Basically the same things that we're looking at with other diseases, is mainly healthy fats. They say coconut oil helps with that. Again, high fiber fruits and vegetables, nutrient dense. As we age, we just want to pick as many nutrient dense foods as possible, because like I mentioned, we don't absorb the nutrients as well, so we want to focus on getting really nutrients.
So like a quality whole grain cereal
Yeah.
instead of
a refined carbohydrate that's made
Fruity
with white
Pebbles.
flour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which are the ones that probably taste better. But
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. not
right,
so-
yeah, with the sugar added
Yes.
versus like the Cheerios. Yeah.
Okay. Treva, if we don't stay active, what happens to our bodies?
Well, I wanted to come back to when you were talking about the brain,
Yeah?
because what we're finding is that exercise actually can improve cognition.
Yeah.
And if you are diagnosed with any cognitive issues, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, anything like that, we're finding that the earlier you can get into a good exercise program that really focuses on the issues that you're having, the better off you're going to do. I have quite a few people who have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and you wouldn't know it. I mean, because you know how you have in your mind, well, they must be like this, but they've really followed the exercise, the whole thing with that, and they're still coming to the classes and doing everything they can. So that's very, very important. Exercise can also improve mood. So, if I'm sitting there and I'm depressed, go take a walk, go do something, kind of thing.
So
But
like,
if we don't stay active, we're gonna have brain issues, definitely. If we're not exercising, muscle loss, that big old word, sarcopenia, hate that word. But it's true. Once I start losing that muscle, what else? Now I'm losing strength. What else? I'm gonna lose my independence. My joints are gonna get stiffer. I'm gonna lose flexibility. And I can say, man, I remember when I used to be able to reach down on the floor. Well, I can't do that anymore because I'm not moving, I'm not working that anymore. So we lose a lot of things from not staying active. Brain, body, mood, whole thing.
do we sleep better when we exercise?
Absolutely, you're gonna sleep better. Now, there's some controversy on, we used to say, now make sure you don't exercise after 8 p.m. Well, some of us have different circadian rhythms. I can exercise at 9 o'clock at night and go right to bed and I'm fine. So you got to know your own body. So that becomes an important part too. Look at some of the mind-body things that you can do. Pilates, yoga, Tai Chi. You're going to start learning things about your own body that you weren't aware of. I always say, at least do one of those, if not all of them. Do something that you get that mind-body connection. Because, we're really not taught that anywhere. Did you do Mind-Body 101 when you were in high school or college? I don't think so. It's really an experience thing that you have to go after, if you will.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Anybody experience stress?
What's that?
Well, let's talk a little bit how nutrition and fitness can help with stress management. Joanne?
Okay.
What can we do to reduce stress by what we put in our mouths?
Absolutely. So, with stress management, it'll help decrease our inflammation, it'll help with our cortisol levels, it also helps with our weight. And we want to focus again on a balanced diet, nutrient-dense foods. Magnesium is really good to help with sleep. It also is good to get enough vitamin C and B vitamins. That's all helpful with stress, because the increased stress, you actually will lose a lot of nutrients in the body, burns up a lot of nutrients. So you need extra nutrients when you're under a lot of stress or trauma.
It doesn't burn fat, but it burns
No.
nutrients.
Unless you don't have an appetite and you're not eating. But yeah, it doesn't.
No.
But yeah, without the stress management, that can lead to a lot of health issues. So we need to just be mindful of that. Our immune system can be compromised with increased stress, and we can get increased muscular pain, issues with sleeping. So there's a whole host of things that happen if we're not managing our stress well.
Gotcha. Treva, from a physical exercise standpoint, how can exercise help with stress?
So cardio work, aerobic work, heart rate gets up, burns those calories, and it also releases endorphins. Love endorphins.
What
Yay!
are endorphins?
They're the happy drug
Yeah.
that our own body makes, basically. Okay. It also helps to release the natural painkillers that our body can produce. Cardiovascular workouts. What's that? That means anything that's getting my heart rate up, basically. Think of it that way, okay? I touched on Tai Chi. Tai Chi is fabulous for balance, arthritis, stress management. Because in Tai Chi, we are moving slowly, okay?
It
And
looks very serene when
it is
people-
very, my Tai Chi class, I have one lady, bless her heart, she goes, she'll be still doing the same move and we've moved on. And she'll look up and she goes, oh, I was in the zone. I'm like, yeah, that's what it's about, get in the zone. I'm okay with that. That's when you got it, okay? Pilates is another one because, again, I'm focusing on doing that movement, getting in the zone. Yoga, a lot of people say the same thing with that. And group exercise. I love group exercise. I love teaching it. I love doing it. I love every aspect of it because I'm hitting cardio, strength, and socialization. We need that so bad. We got ripped off a few years back, didn't we? All right, so it's
True.
time for payback. We got to get that socialization. I read an article in Psychology Today years ago about the aerobic classes, and they likened it unto a tribe. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, everybody had to come dressed specifically with leg warmers. Ladies, do you remember leg warmers?
Yes.
Okay. The headband had to match the leg warmers.
Oh, yeah.
And if you were really, really into it, you had the wrist things on. That had to match everything too, okay? And we all did the same movements together, right? I can remember our group was on the right-hand side of the room, and you didn't get into that group unless we let you come. So if someone was there, we would inch over and just move them out of the way. And you saw that happen throughout the room. Everybody had their spot to do their aerobic class. So there was a lot of socialization going on, and it still does. It still does. There's, people come in and they're like, "Wow, I'm so glad to see you today. I know you weren't feeling good last week. How you doing today?" And you just hear the banter. Sometimes I have to say, "All right, shut up. We got to start class." Yeah, and I love that. I love that I have to do that. I really do.
I think exercising in a group, it is nice. Even if you're not talking,
Right.
Yeah.
you're still,
Energy.
it is that inspiring part. If they can do it, I can do it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so as we wrap up, before we get to our Q&A, I'd like for you to each maybe address one action item that our audience can take. So this is where you want to get your pen and your seminar notes page out so you can write down what your action item is going to be. But Treva, give us an action item, and then Joanne will close it up with you.
Okay, I want to just say, Beth, when we were kind of going over this on our meeting, she said, "Surprise me."
Oh.
Are you ready for a surprise?
Okay.
Okay. Here's the deal. Laughter is the best medicine, is it not?
Yeah.
Okay. There's laughter yoga and some stuff like that. I do fitness laughter. Are you ready?
We're going to do it now?
Come on. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. We're Santa Claus. Ho, 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 ho. Come on. Ho, 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 ho. Ho, 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 ho. Ho, 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 ho. All right. Now, we are the dastardly mean guy in the comics. Moo-ha-ha-ha. 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 Come on, do the mustache. Moo-ha-ha-ha. 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 And now you're see, I'm already laughing. Now we are laughing at the best joke you just got told. All right. Now, do you know the person next to you by any chance? Oh, yes, you do. Don't lie. I want you to get your cream pie.
Oh, glad.
Cheryl, this is going to be fun for you.
Yeah, boy. You got your cream pie ready? And so do they. Get your cream pie ready. Oh, you two do it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, you ready? All right. Woo! Let me tell you something real quick about laughter. It actually strengthens your immune system. It enhances your oxygen intake. It stimulates the heart and lungs and muscles, just like an aerobic class. It releases endorphins. It can relieve physical pain. It can cool down the stress release response. You know, that cortisol stuff. It can cool that down. Here's my best thing. If you can do 10 to 15 minutes of laughter, you will burn 40 calories, and that means you can have half a cookie later.
Thank you, Treva. I didn't know we were going to get an exercise class today.
You
All right,
want a
Joanne, I'm
surprise?
going to ask you to follow that
Okay,
up.
I was gonna say I don't know if I can compete with that. That's for sure. I mean, basically setting goals. But I have a favorite story because I have a patient that I worked with, and when he came in, he was 6 feet 2 inches tall. He weighed 130 pounds, and his daughter was so concerned she wanted to put a feeding tube in. I said, "Give me 2 weeks." He was very motivated, and he agreed to try what I had recommended. And we made a plan for him of what he was going to do. And he did it, and within a couple of weeks, he started gaining weight. So she was like, okay, and we kept working. Eventually, he left, and when he had left, he had gained a bit of weight. She called me 3 months later, and she left me a message. She said he's up to 175 pounds doing the plan.
Yes.
And she was so happy, and he never had to have the tube, and I was just following instructions. I did very high protein high calorie smoothies that were like 500 to 800 calories each, and yeah, and he followed that, and it was amazing. So
Wow.
yeah.
Getting
That's
a
my
good plan
favorite.
and
Yeah,
sticking
a good
with
plan,
it.
goals, yes, definitely.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that the educational partners have some microphones. Do we have any questions for our esteemed panelists? Got one up here, Elaine.
So my question is about the exercise of getting up and down out of your chair. And so what I'm wondering is, as we get older, a lot of times we use our arms and shoulders to help push us up out of the chair. So to what extent are we using our upper bodies more than we are our legs?
And that's such a good question, because when I start with people, I tell them, get out of your chair like you normally do. And they push off. So then I say, let's try that with your arms crossed. And if it might be, that's right, and that's what I want to see, if that's impossible. Because if I have to start you with the push off, I'm going to start you there, absolutely. And then we're going to see, let's do just one arm, and then let's try the no arm. So there is no shame in that if I have to use my arms, do it, that's fine. But your goal is to get to no arms, okay? But if here's the other thing. Let's say your goal for that is really to keep your independence. Listen, if you can get out by pushing off, more power to you. Do it. It's whatever it takes. But if we can get you to that point of no arms, yes. But be patient with yourself and be kind to yourself. Okay?
That's good. Thank you. Got one in the back there?
For the nutritionist, I was wondering, what is your generic go-to complete protein?
Did everybody hear that question? General go-to protein supplement.
There are so many different types, and it's so variable because it depends on what's going on with your health. It depends what you're looking for, if it's going to be a dairy-based protein versus a plant-based protein. They have high protein powders and liquids that you can use. It depends on your kidney function, because with less kidney function, you have to be very careful with adding a lot of extra protein. So then you would choose a lower protein supplement versus a higher protein supplement. It just depends on the condition and what you're looking for.
I don't know that was a great answer, Patty. I'm sorry, but it depends.
Yeah,
It does.
it does.
It does.
Yep.
And I think a lot of it too depends on what you can tolerate. Like some are more gritty than others, or for whatever reason. And
Yeah, and some have added sugars, some don't.
Yeah,
so
or
it
sodium.
varies. Yeah, and sodium.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got another question, and then we've got one up front when you're done there.
It's not a question, it's just a suggestion. RX bars are all natural and all flavors, but it's dates, nuts, and egg whites.
Egg whites.
And they're so good.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Well, there you go. Simple ingredients, RX bars. Highly recommended. Down here, Joanne had a
Beth,
question.
did you know that the walking track
Hold on.
at Crosby was free?
Say that again?
Did you know that the walking track is free at the Crosby?
I did, but I don't know that everybody else does. The walking track at Crosby is free. You can walk in there and walk
Okay.
That's nice to know.
without having a membership. You do have to have a membership to go into the fitness room. Yeah.
The track, you can just go right on up.
And they have a really good little restaurant in there, and that has some healthy options. And I also saw a bunch of ladies playing mahjong, so there's some social
wow.
stuff
Okay, yeah.
going
right.
on in there too. Any other questions? Okay. Sean's It's a race. It's a race. Let's see, you do that in heels, Sean.
Oh, man.
Kurt?
If I'm offered a choice of desserts and one of them is no sugar added, what does that really mean?
Oh, that's a good question. So if I've got desserts and it's like no sugar added, is that the one I should choose?
So it depends what they're adding to it. There's a variety of things that they may add to the no sugar added, but technically, yes, those can be better. Sometimes food is flavored with fat, sodium, and sugar. So if they take out one item, they may replace it with something else. Sometimes they'll add extra fat or extra sodium to make it taste good. So just be mindful that it can have different
Like something
components.
low fat can have a ton of
A
sugar.
lot of sugar, exactly, yeah.
Got one up here? And then we'll do one more.
I've heard various pros and cons of supplements, effectiveness, etc. Could you expound on that?
Like a protein supplement or
No,
Just like
vitamins?
vitamin supplements?
Yeah, like
Okay.
B12, D3s, those
Okay.
types.
Yes, and I wrote down all of the words to look for somewhere here
I'm gonna tell you
in all of my
something, Joanne
papers.
came prepared.
I don't know, I can't find it. But there are certain things to look for on the supplements. USP is one of the things to look for because they regulate the quality and what they're putting in it. So if it's regulated by a company, those tend to be a little bit higher quality than some of the other ones. So looking for that seal label on the supplement.
USP, okay. And then we'll get you.
Oh, sorry, back to the sugar question. So my husband eats so much of the Splenda. I mean, 3 in every coffee. That has to be bad for your brain, right?
Is Splenda bad for your brain?
For the brain. Okay, so the studies that have been done in very high quantities, I tend to choose more of like the stevia-based products because it's more of a natural product, and that's what I tend to do. So I think it's not a product that the body recognizes as well as a natural product, and so we just need to be careful with those. But a lot of the doses that they were given in those studies were very high doses. So yeah, I prefer to go more natural.
Natural,
Mhm.
okay. Wrap us up, Linda.
Okay, a quick suggestion for the question about which supplements are best. I have no idea or recommendation as far as which ones. However, there is a group that I've had a paid subscription to for more than 10 years. It's called Consumer Labs. It's probably .com, it may be .org. Anyhow, they do testing, so if you're looking for a vitamin C,
Huh.
it doesn't hit all brands, but they test many brands, make sure that if it says 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, that you get 1,000 milligrams. And it also rates them acceptable and not acceptable, because sometimes there's additives, or maybe not in vitamin C, but in some things. So it's my way of checking that if I decide to take a supplement, I'm at least going to get my money's worth and what I expect. So I highly recommend it.
Great tip, great tip. You got one, Gladys?
I have a question. You mentioned adding carbohydrates to your diet. What are the best carbohydrates to eat?
The best carbohydrates are the whole grains. So brown rice, quinoa. Quinoa is actually a complete protein. It's carbs and protein. So it's you don't have to eat meat with that because it's a complete protein in itself. If you're eating just the brown rice, you add beans, that will become a complete protein. Baked potatoes, baked sweet potatoes. Those type of foods would be the best, like for complex carbohydrates.
Okay. Not macaroni and cheese.
Well, they do sell that now. They have brown rice noodles, and they have whole wheat noodles now. So
And they also
do.
have chickpea.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, it's
they do.
delicious. I
Mhm.
love it. And I
Yeah,
get
and
extra
black
protein.
bean noodles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
mhm.
so branch out, branch out. Oh,
Just a fast question.
okay, one fast question.
So you had,
Go ahead.
so you had mentioned that, for both of you, that each person is different on what their assessments are for both activity, right, as well as nutrition, right,
Correct.
depending on the age group.
Yeah.
Is there a more precision assessment that someone can go to get a consultation to figure out where their baseline is so that they can work on what they need to add to in regards to the movement, strength training, and or the nutrition part of it?
So are you asking like where to go to get the best assessment you can?
Right, besides, because your doctors obviously are gonna say, oh yeah, you're low in magnesium or this or that, but they don't really have the time to give
Okay.
you in-depth precision
Sure.
health in regards to that, so
Sure.
any.
So we talked about that a little bit in that you've got to ask questions wherever it is, if it's a gym, a fitness
Right.
personal trainer, maybe
Right.
you take a recommendation from a friend that had good success, or you start asking the questions. Nutritionists are not, in my mind, as readily available.
You can look online and they can give you a list of nutritionists in the area that do like private consultations, and they can like do a full assessment based on your history, your height, your weight, your age, because all of those are factors that they take into account in your labs and what medicines you're on. Like we look at all of that
Okay.
and make an assessment from that.
Gotcha. And is it okay to ask for references? If you call those people, I mean, would you,
Yeah,
if somebody called you and
definitely.
said, give me some references, you'd
Yeah.
be okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Awesome. Did you learn anything today?
Yes.
I learned that laughing is something
I know,
we need to do.
I want that half a cookie.
Did we try and sell you anything? Okay, good deal. But my challenge is, what are you going to do with the information that you got today? So we might have a check-in. There you go, Chris. I love it. He's already starting. Thank you to those of you that brought a first-time guest today. You are our connection to the world. And so we encourage you to bring somebody that's never been before. Our next seminar is April 2nd. Don't forget to write your name on your blue form. And we hope to see you on the 2nd. If you are interested in coming to any of our community tours, also indicate that. And then, we've got a fun quote today from Mr. Jack LaLanne. Do you guys remember him? When it comes to health, diet is the queen, but exercise is the king. So go out and make some changes, and we're going to talk about them when you come back next week, or in 2 weeks. So thank you very much.
Thank you.